It says meeting is streaming live on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great. Okay, so hi Srikant. Welcome to. Oh, there's some feedback here. Wait. Wait, there's something going on. All right, so now we should be. These are all the technical things. It opens a window and then I hear my own self speaking. It's all crazy.
Yeah. Happens in all the presentations.
I know, right? Yeah. So Srikant, it's great, yeah, to have you on Physics of Pranayama after so many years we've known each other. And just to let you know, I don't know if you've been to the Physics of Pranayama channel. It is a place for left-brained, right-thinking people. All right. So you are the perfect example of left-brain, right-thinking. I know you from school days. It's just amazing over the years to interact with you. So yeah. So welcome.
Thank you, Sandeep. It's great to be here. And Physics of Pranayama is a title which is very intriguing. So it's good to be here and then talk about things that we love.
Yeah. So my interaction with you began, in school days. We were like growing up in Navratna, Baroda, Navratna High School. And I remember your passion for cricket. At that time, I didn't understand the game as well as I do now after so many years of watching it and studying it. But at that time, I remember you had this keen insight into cricket, and and um, and it has stayed with me for so many years that wow. So just tell us your motivation about following cricket and the passion and all this stuff.
Uh, I was born in a place called Sindri, which is right now, which is in Jharkhand district. Earlier, that time when I was born, it was in Bihar. Sorry, Jharkhand state,
Mhm.
um, and Dhanbad district.
Yeah.
Um, so in Sindri, when I grew up, my introduction to cricket was given by my brother,
Mhm.
Vasan.
Okay.
And that was something that I got interested in it so much. He used to encourage me so much, give me dive catches, ask me to bowl, ask me to bat. And I discovered that, I could bowl a googly then when my brother just said, "Oh, that's a googly." And I said, "What is a googly?" So, and suddenly, he said, "Okay, what you are doing right now is a googly." Okay. So then I thought, okay, fine. I mean, nobody taught me that, but then I'm somehow able to do it. um, so that was the first introduction to cricket. After 15 years in Sindri, I shifted to Baroda, and that's when we met in Navrashna.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so Baroda was one place. I love Baroda. I don't know about you, Sandeep. What do you say?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got my best memories of growing up in Baroda. Yes.
Yeah. So Baroda is one place, that introduced me to cricket formally, and took a formal coaching there, and I was a leg spinner to start with because I could bowl the googly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I could also bat well.
Yes.
Uh, but so school, obviously, since I took up coaching, I was good in cricket in school, and we had the Rose team, and I forgot the other teams that were there. I was in Rose. I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. I also forgot. I mean, that part of my memory is not very clear right now. Maybe it's because of lots
Okay.
of meditation. It is all those things have gone away. I don't know. But what I remember one thing, Srikant, is we used to play cricket, and once I was on your team, and you gave me the ball, and you told me something that still stuck with me. You told me you have 6 balls to get this guy out. That's all you told me. You said, you tell me where you want me to place the field. I will place it there, but you got 6 balls to get this guy out. I said, dude, I got no freaking control on the ball. Kya 6 balls mein kya hoga? But on the sixth ball, I got the guy out. And it was this thing that you put in my head that you focus, you got 6 balls to get this guy out. That was amazing the way you did it. But I did not see it at that time. Now I realize when I was reflecting back and thinking about, what can I talk to Srikant about? This memory just came, the 6 balls thing. So it's great.
Okay, I must have said it, just like that. I don't know. Probably, we were not doing good, and I wanted you to take a wicket. I probably saw a wicket taker in you.
Yeah. And then the other thing I remember is then we switched, and the other game, I was on the opposing side of you, and I was
Okay.
opening the batting, and you had given the ball to somebody else, and you said, no, I will bowl. So you bowled the first over, and I was so scared. I said, oh my god, first over, Srikant, what the heck? And I remember the first ball you bowled to me was a Yorker, because the before the timing comes, if you can get the batsman out on the first ball, then you've done it. It's the easiest way to get it out. Once you get the timing, then it's more difficult. But you had that insight to take the ball, because you knew my weak point. My weak point was I go a little bit on the back foot, and you know that if you put a Yorker, mostly it's LBW or it's clean bowled. There's only two things that can happen. Thankfully, I survived that ball.
To this day, Sandeep, I bowl the Yorker well, especially when I'm playing with my son. Um, and over a period of time, practicing with him, he has understood, which ball is going to be a Yorker. And so somehow I have not lost touch with that Yorker. I don't know how that thing came, but then yes, I do. I used to bowl good Yorkers, but then those were the days.
No, yeah.
So that was cricket, and I used to play for Baroda Sports Club in Baroda,
Mhm.
and did quite well there.
Yeah.
So at one point of time, I shifted from being a leg spinner to being a pace bowler, and that was probably, I think probably because I was gaining height, and somehow I had there was a problem with the flight of the ball
Oh,
because I had gained height, and I suddenly decided that no, probably I should just bowl pace,
yeah.
and that's how the Yorker thing probably
That's how
came
the
there.
Yorker thing. Yeah. Did you play for? So then you went from Navratna, you went to MS University in Baroda?
So for MS University, I did play for my department.
Ah,
I was playing for my department. There were the inter-department matches, and but then at some point of time, I decided that no, I think cricket has to come to a stop. Those days, there was not so much of encouragement.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and uh, obviously, parents are also quite worried. Where is their child moving?
Yeah.
And so I had to take a decision. Probably that cricket is probably not happening, and I had to concentrate on studies.
So then you
Of
you
course,
you did you essentially redirected your passion from cricket to I don't know, were you studying? Physics.
physics.
Physics. Yeah, yeah.
So those days, if you could not get into engineering, you got into science, and
Okay.
that was my story. So I got into physics, which was the next best thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and college life was obviously fantastic. I used to play cricket also there, but at some point I had to decide that no, okay, it's not happening, and stop that. Um, but to some, I think the 3 years that I spent in college, I did play a lot of cricket for my department.
Okay, right. But how was that feeling from inside, that you had a drive for something and you said no to that drive, and then you did something else? How was that feeling at that time? Because you're quite young.
See,
I mean, we were like what,
correct.
19, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah. It was difficult, but somehow, Sandeep, that seems to come to me very easily. I don't know, it's there in my nature, or I don't know what is it. I just decided that no, I need to drop it. That's it. Just drop it. It is not happening. drop it. That's it.
Yeah.
So yes, that did happen. And I don't watch cricket even now because I dropped it. I don't watch cricket. I just glance at the TV when my son is watching, and then move away, and then do something else. It's not that I have lost something. I don't have this feeling that I've lost a career or anything of that sort.
Yeah, that's an amazing way to deal with it, especially when you're 18, 19 years old. Otherwise, this
Hmm.
dropping of some passion leads to usually frustration and angst and all this kind of stuff. But you just like took it in your stride and said, "All right, I'm just going to do the next."
Correct.
Yeah. And then you
It
moved to
just
what?
happened.
Then you moved to software. How did you move from physics to software?
Okay, I took up a marketing job um, in Chennai. Yeah, I had moved to Chennai, and I took up a marketing job and to fund my software there primarily. That was how it was happening. My parents were still in Baroda at that time, and I decided that yes, I also need to do software engineering. Those days, there was this thing called AppTech, like
Yeah, yeah,
NIIT.
I
You
remember.
had this AppTech.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the 2 years this one. So I decided that there's no point in doing a separate college course now. I just need to get into something which is quick and which can actually teach me a lot. And I studied software engineering there, the 2 years there.
Hmm.
At the same time, I was also interested in multimedia, and I did this. I studied another course in multimedia, because multimedia was a happening thing. Animations and all those new things that were coming up that time.
Yeah.
And so the software thing happened there. One was multimedia, and the other one was the software engineering. Where I remember I wrote programs in COBOL and. What all I did, I don't know. I also did a separate course on Power Builder and Sybase.
Okay.
Uh, so whatever was available, probably out of my interest, I just went into that and then said, no, I need to equip myself with more of this. It didn't matter to me whether it got me a job or not, but then I just studied these things. Finally, I did get a job. I did get a job in multimedia in a software called Director.
Okay.
um, that's from Adobe. Now, those days, it was from Macromedia. So then
Okay.
Adobe took over Macromedia, and I used to write scripts for animations, so to make them interactive. So like you have this small these stories for kids of between 4 to 8 years of age,
Hmm.
Hansel and Gretel, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and all.
Yeah, yeah.
So those animations that were created, to bring in interactivity to it, I used to write scripts for that in Director. That was a very interesting job for me, and I joined Pentasoft. That those days it was called Pentafor here in Chennai, in the outskirts of Chennai. I was there for 1 year, and from then on I moved to HCL, HCL Technologies, way back in 1997. Yeah, and in HCL, I moved on to something totally different. I moved into usability, user experience and usability. That was a quite a big leap for me because user experience was something that was quite new in 1997,
Yeah.
uh, at least even in India. And to get into that, then you get a certification in as a certified usability analyst. Stayed in HCL for 19 years, and that's how software happened to me.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, this is great. This totally establishes the left brain part of it. Okay, so you're perfectly qualified to come on the channel because now the left brain is established. Now we'll go to the right brain part of it. So what happened? So I remember we met in our reunion, and then you were talking to me about moving to your the new passion, or maybe it was a dormant passion, I don't know, about photography, and we talked about it. And yeah, so let's hear that story, how you move to photography.
Yeah. So before that, let's go
Before,
back further
yeah,
because it's there in the genes, right?
okay.
So my mother is an artist, so she's into arts. Um, when she was studying here in college in Chennai before marriage, uh, her principal, she was studying arts, fine arts,
Mhm.
and her principal was Jamini Roy Chaudhary, who was a great artist then. Um, so she's an artist, and she also teaches music, Carnatic music.
Okay. Yeah.
Veena, she teaches Veena, then she teaches vocal, and so art was something that was there in the family. Um, and what happened was, at my young age, she said, I need to learn something. So I started learning Ridangam.
Oh wow.
Um, so your right brain, starts there.
Starts there. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when I started learning Mridangam. Um, and but then when I moved to Maroda, uh, due to some circumstances or some reasons, I
Yeah.
could not continue playing Mridangam, and
Hmm.
so I had left. But then that thing was already there, right? I got married, and I got married to a Bharatanatyam dancer,
Oh wow.
right? Yeah. So
Who's also a
my
right? Who's also a writer, right?
who is also a writer, who is also a right brainer,
Right brain.
and then my in-laws, my mother-in-law is also a Carnatic music teacher, right? My father-in-law writes lyrics for Carnatic music. I mean, so he has his CD collection that has already come out. Then my daughter is also a Bharatanatyam dancer now. She
He has no
learns
choice, buddy.
dance.
He has no choice. I mean, with all this stuff, poor girl has no choice.
Yeah, yeah. But she loves it. The good thing is, she loves that, and and of course, the sports is something that has been there in the family. So while my daughter is a karate champion, my son is into serious cricket. So he's continuing my passion into his life, and he has just integrated that with it. So while all these things were happening, somewhere in 2008, there was some interest that was generated in photography. And I said, yes, I need to buy a DSLR. I bought a DSLR. After buying a DSLR, I clicked it, and I found to my horror that nothing was coming in it, right? I was seeing blank images. So I probably thought that there's something wrong with the camera, right? And I need to do something here. Of course, I had a point and shoot camera long time back, and I used to click, but then that was not photography as such. That was just clicking a picture. That's it.
That's it.
Um, but when this thing when I bought a DSLR, I said, no, this is not happening. Am I doing something wrong here? So I went through the net, and then saw that, okay, no, there are a lot of settings and a lot of things, that technical aspects which I do not know, and I need to learn these things. That's when I identified an academy here, which is called Ambitions for Academy in Chennai, and I learned over the weekend. So while I was with HCL Technologies, over the weekend I also learned photography. Almost the extent of 6 months of a course that I did, and that's how my interest in photography came. And I got to know that it's not just about clicking a picture, but there are so many other aspects in photography where you don't take a picture, but you make a picture, right? And that is something that was a totally new revelation to me. And I decided that, no, this is something that I need to develop further. And that's how photography started for me. That is in 2008.
Great, great. Yeah. Yeah, it's so nicely you put it. Photography is not just taking a picture. You got to build it in your mind. The setting has to be there. It's this. I think it's the same thing. I think your way of thinking of building a photo has not changed since the day you told me that you got 6 balls to take this guy out, because you have to think the batsman out. You have to build that whole scenario where in 6 balls the guy is gone, right? So
Yeah,
now
that's
you got to build
right.
the photo. It's the same thought process, I'm thinking.
Correct, correct. And this, as you said, the thought process. A lot of people do not understand, what goes behind taking a photograph. So they just think that, probably that okay, it's a click and then post on FB. But then this is a lot of thought process that goes into it. As as far as framing is concerned, composition is concerned. You not only have to think about the foreground, you also think about the background. Um, you also have to think about the settings, the technical aspects. So there is a creative aspect, and then there is a technical aspect. So all these, have to be taken into consideration. But then, when you are on the field, it is just like that. You cannot take too much time to take a photograph.
Do you have some
And
examples you can share? Do you have some photos that you could tell us the like?
yes, 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 yes. In fact, I have a lot of photographs. So before getting into that, what I wanted to say was my passion was for wildlife photography initially. Okay? I said, this is something that is very close to my heart. Uh, Nature, wildlife, and I said, this is something that I should get into. Over a period of time, I did branch out to other genres of photography.
Mhm.
But the I what I thought was, since we are going to be talking about this, I just decided to make a presentation, create a presentation of photographs, across genres, so that if you think we can get into it, should we do that
Wait,
now?
so, yeah. So one thing I'd like to maybe talk about before we get into photography, or maybe we can talk
Hmm.
about it when you're sharing the picture. Like, let's go.
Okay.
Let's do your. If you have something to share, that'll be awesome, and then we can keep
Yeah. So
talking on the
let
side.
me
We can keep talking.
correct. So let me just share the screen. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Can you make it into like presentation mode?
Yeah, I just clicked that. Is it taking some time?
This is great. Why are animals called wildlife? I'm thinking if you're in wildlife photography, you should just take pictures of humans because they are the wildest of the wild.
Correct. So no, this thought has been there, for for a long time. I mean, um, now these animals are there always in the natural environment. Why are we calling them wild? When they are there in the most natural environment,
They are
it
the
is
most
we who are
natural.
wild, living in a concrete jungle,
I completely
right?
agree with you. Yes.
Yeah. So let's start with this thought and go on to the next one.
Yeah.
So, no wildlife photograph is complete without a tiger photograph, right?
Yeah.
So, this is a photograph that I took in Bandipur. Now, if you see what actually went into this photograph, one
Yeah.
is the lighting, right?
Yeah.
Now, the lighting, if you see, it's from the top left. That's where the light has come. And that has resulted in a rim light. If you see my pointer, which I'm actually showing
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
So this has resulted in this rim light. So that gives an extra effect even on top here.
Yeah.
So this gives an extra effect. That is point number one. The second point is there is some action, right? The front leg
Mm-hmm.
is lifted up. It is not on the ground, right? The tiger is on the prowl, right? So it shows that. And of course, there's beautiful natural environment that it is in. So this tiger was probably, when I took this shot, this tiger was probably around 12 meters from the jeep that I was in, safari vehicle uh, that I was in. Now this shot led to this particular shot.
Oh, wow.
Now it's the same tiger, but the difference here is now this was at 5 meters, from my safari vehicle. I had a big lens. It's a 500 lens that I was using then. And this is a full frame, I mean, in the sense it is not cropped or it is not this one. This is the maximum that could fit into my lens. I mean, the body is outside of this, the entire face is the thing that I could get. Even the ears had to be cut, but that was how close I was. You can see the features, all the beautiful features that this tiger has.
Look at the focus. I mean, the focus is laser sharp. It's amazing.
Exactly, and even the eyes of the tiger is laser sharp, right? When you get a closer up, you start appreciating creation. You start appreciating life. My God, why did the creator even decide to make this particular animal this way? Beauty, it comes in so many shapes and so many ways to us. This is one of the ways, apart from the fact that it is a fearsome animal. But to be frank, I don't consider tiger as fearsome or any animal as fearsome. It is only we, when we disturb them, that's when, we have to be fearful of them.
But Srikant, could I ask you another question?
Yeah.
So, if you go back to this one,
Hmm.
in my mind, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. When you're taking a photograph, the photograph is about something that is still. So unless the photographer's mind is also equally still, the photo doesn't come out as it in the full glory of the photo. If the mind is all
Absolutely
distracted,
correct.
the mind is distracted. So I'm thinking somewhere subconsciously, when you're taking a photo, you are working on your breath to make it even, and only then the photo comes. And this is exactly what the tiger is also showing. I'm thinking if we had gone and looked and listened to the how the tiger was breathing at this point, it would have been the same uniform breath that was in your mind. This is why the photo came out perfectly. It is completely about, I think, breath control, which settles the mind, and then the focus comes, and then it's just beauty. It's just amazing, I think so.
No, you're absolutely correct. So one of the things that we keep saying as far as photographers are concerned, when there is a subject, the photographer should become the subject, right? So when you become the subject, you start thinking like the subject. You even go to the level of the subject, to take a photograph. So that's a very important point that you have mentioned, Sandeep, and glad that people like you are talking about these things, understanding, because a lot of people do not understand this particular aspect of how to bring out the best photograph or how to bring out the best in a photographer. So the photographer has to become the subject or think like the subject to take a particular photograph. Now, okay, at first sight, this is an obviously an elephant crossing a path, right? But there is a myna there,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is accompanying the elephant. Now, what is actually happening here? This is, I mean, obviously, many of the photographs also have stories, right, associated with them.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So the myna accompanies the elephant, and when elephant plucks the vegetation off the ground, there are small bugs that fall off the vegetation, and this is consumed by the myna. So that is what is actually the story behind this particular photograph. Similarly, we see these cattle egrets, which actually surround the cattle, And when the cow plucks vegetation, these egrets are there to grab any bugs, small insects that fall off the vegetation.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah,
is that shot.
I had not thought of it like that. This is
Uh,
amazing. I had not even thought of it because I've seen these cows eating grass, and I've seen elephants of course plucking leaves, etc. And there are always birds around it. And I said, what the heck? What is okay? Now you've explained it to me beautifully. Very nice. Yeah. Oh, lovely.
an early morning sight in Kabini. Uh, I just entered the forest, and this was the sight to welcome me. It's like a beautiful maiden with her beautiful tresses, with her beautiful hair down, and captivating the onlookers. That's how I looked at it, and it was. Uh, I don't know. I mean, there was beauty in the way it sat there, even though it's a male.
I think Srikant, the beauty comes in the absolute naturalness of they don't care about what other people are thinking about them. Nothing of this. They are simply natural, and that is what makes it beautiful. And we call them wild animals. What crazy? They are natural, and we are the wild people.
Yeah, yeah.
This is so lovely. I mean, this is just amazing. Oh wow! What is the
Now,
story behind this one? This is an amazing shot.
so elephants are very inquisitive, right? They need to check as to who has come to see them, and they either do it in a soft way, or they do what is known as a mock attack, right? A mock attack is something that happens when an elephant, from a distance, charges at the safari vehicle,
Hmm.
right? It charges at full speed, and at that speed, sometimes what happens is, there is mud which just goes up the elephant's body, and that's we have seen that in so many channels. But then, just a few meters before the safari vehicle, the elephant stops and turns, right? That is just an indication. It's just trying to indicate not to come closer. That's it. And that's its way of communicating. And we need to respect that. Now, here, the elephant was probably 7 to 8 meters, from my vehicle. Again, now, see, one thing about elephants is that, you cannot rely on them. Um, they will look, very docile, but suddenly they turn. If there is a young one there, they are there with their young ones. They will turn and then probably, show their anger towards us. Whereas a tiger will walk like a king. He knows, that we cannot do anything to it. It is his kingdom, and he's having a stroll. That's it. Whereas an elephant is something that you cannot depend on. It can suddenly attack. So this was around 7 to 8 meters, and I had a very good lens. It was a big lens, 500 lens, and I got a very good close shot of this beautiful animal. See its eyes. So they are so scary,
Yeah, yeah.
and
But
of course the lines.
one thing, Srikant,
Hmm.
this is not one shot. You must have taken many shots, and then this is the one that you chose. I'm thinking you don't usually take only one shot, right? You just keep clicking.
Correct, correct. So there are, a lot of these action shots are continuous shots, what are known as continuous shots, right? There will be 6 to 7 shots that will be shooting. But this one, the elephant was still. So I didn't have to use continuous shots here. It was just a single shot. I didn't do much because the elephant also didn't do much. Even I also did not have to do much there.
Yeah. Wow, man.
So this is called a racket-tailed drongo. This is in a place called Dudwa. It's a Dudwa National Park in North UP. See, the reason I have this here is this is a very minimalistic photograph. There's just one subject here, not much. You don't see much of the background. That's because it is foggy, one part. And the second thing is because it is blurred. because my entire focus is on this subject here, a racket-tailed drongo. The other thing about this particular composition is that it looks like the drongo is going from bottom right to top left, right? It's a
Right.
diagonal kind of a movement. So a diagonal movement or a diagonal composition or anything of that sort which is diagonal always makes a good composition. Um, and that is the reason I thought, that and it's just that, it happened just like that. Uh, Probably I could say that, I was lucky. That's one thing. And the second thing is also, I had focused on it and I saw it flying. And this is the continuous shot. You were saying earlier that you need to be taking a few shots together. So this one is one of those 6 to 7 shots which I had taken.
Yeah, I remember you gave me a lesson on the importance of lines on a photo and the importance of symmetry. And this is the perfect example of it. Because think about it, if this was not perfectly diagonal to the picture, the beauty would have gone. If it is a little bit up or a little bit down, it's not the same. The beauty is in the diagonality of it. It's beautiful. It's lovely. Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so Sandeep, what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be going a bit faster.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of photographs here, right? And I know, there's a lot of stories that I can actually talk about, each of the photographs. But then I also have to be, true to your channel and, to all the people who will be watching this.
But Srikant, let's do it this way. You can tell the stories and we don't have to finish everything now. We can do another session. There is not
great.
Yeah, no problem. It's not only one.
Sure.
We can do like many.
So this is a composition about suddenness, right? When there is something that comes out suddenly from the bushes. And it's not one elephant, but 4 elephants, right? So who would have thought that there is an elephant that is going to be coming out of that bush, right? You can see a path which is there on the right-hand side, right? It's okay if the elephant comes from there. But, suddenly from the bush, if something comes, then that's a bit scary. But fortunately, I was quite at some distance here, probably around 30 meters, I would say. I was around 30 meters. And there was a body of water which was separating me from the elephant. So the elephants were actually coming to this body of water. Yeah. So this is this bird is called a lesser adjutant stork, right? But then it's not about the bird. My main aspect here is the composition here of this particular canvas, I would say. It looks like a painting.
It does. Yeah, it totally looks like a painting.
Yeah, the tones that are actually there, it looks like a painting. And believe me, a lot of people think that, there is something to do with Photoshop here. No, there's nothing to do with Photoshop. This is how the early morning scene was there in Dudwa. And this lesser adjutant stock was just landing. The focus was on this particular bird. And the rest, that's why the rest of the areas that you see here are all out of focus, right? Because the focus is on the bird. And when something is out of focus, it slightly gets blurred. And that's why you see it as like a painting, as if someone has painted this.
What I love about this photo, Srikant, if you allow me to say, is that look at those blades of grass that are the black ones that are vertical, and then those similar lines of black are in the wings of the bird also. It's like those lines are exactly the same as it is beautiful. It is just beautiful.
That's good observation, Sandeep. Very good observation.
Nice.
Yeah, one of those common photographs that we see when the elephant just plays around with the mud. It's actually cleaning its body. You can see an elephant get into the river, take a bath, come out, and then put mud all over it. So that's to clean the bugs and the insects that are there on its body. And this is a typical Kabini shot. This is a Kabini. Um, uh, whatever you see in the background is all Kabini waters and Kabini land.
Mm.
So I call this a parliament in session.
Yeah.
Just that this looks or this seems too silent for a parliament, right? But you see the discipline. I converted it, to black and white because I thought that will have a greater impact here. Because anyway, the egrets are white, the beaks are black. The stones that they are standing on are black, right? The water is not blue, but it's slightly grayish. So I thought that black and white will make a greater impact here, and their reflection also is also creating that kind of a fantastic effect on this particular image. So I'll go to the next. Yeah, I call this ROFL,
Yes.
rolling on the floor laughing.
ROFL, yes.
So these are wild asses in Kutch, little run of Kutch. I had a very long desire to see these, and then when an opportunity came, I did visit this along with a group of photographers. See, the best part about this, and what people will not realize, is that I was totally flat on the ground
Oh,
here.
wow. Mm-hmm.
And that's why you see the front part here is almost at the level of the camera. I'm almost at the level of the wild ass here,
Uh-huh.
right? And these are very shy animals. So if when they see two legs approaching them, they slowly move away. So the best thing was to lie down and then crawl towards them, and that is how I took this photograph.
Oh, lovely.
This is moving into oblivion.
Infinity. I would say infinity. Moving into
Infinity. Yeah, infinity is a good word. And again, you see the reflection of these wild asses that it's not water, right? It's a mirage. It's a desert area,
Yeah.
right? And you will get this mirage if you lie flat on the ground and take a photograph. You won't get this, when you're standing. I have another photograph, not in this presentation, but in my hard disk, where I'm standing and taking the photograph. You won't see this reflection. This water-like reflection, the mirage-like feeling comes only when you lie down on the ground and then take this photograph.
Srikant, we know this as students of physics. It's because of the temperature gradient is only at the level of the ground, and that is what is causing the change in density, and that's what's causing the mirage to happen.
Exactly.
And once you're up above the ground, there is no more change of temperature, so the thing goes away. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Correct.
I mean, it's amazing. The things that you see from ground level, 2 feet above it, you can't see it. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Oh, lovely. It's like, that thing where we throw the stones on the water, it goes ching, 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 like that.
Correct. So 3 stops, 3 hops, skip, and then what is good here is I was able to capture all the 3 the stops here that it makes. So it went up, then hop, skip, and then it was in the air, and along with it came the reflection of this cormorant.
Yeah.
And this is again in Dudhwa, North UP. It's a fantastic, beautiful place. Okay, so that's about wildlife. See, as this wildlife and all these things happened, I got interested in macro photography. See, the Canon users call it macro photography. The Nikon users call it micro photography, which is nothing but the the world of insects, bugs, and all those things. I call it the small world. Right? So I thought, I can have a few slides here, to show what is it that that's so beautiful and that's there in, around us. It's all there around us, but we seem to be missing in life because, of our other priorities. We are too busy to look at them.
I would
The
call
first
them.
one that I have
I would not
here.
call them priorities, Srikant. I would call them distractions. We are just distracted. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Now, these are two black ants, one feeding the other.
Mm.
And in the background, there is a colony of ants which is feeding on honey. I had dropped, 2 drops of honey, in my balcony. This is again my balcony, right? And the ants quickly came. I don't know, they passed the message somehow, and then they all quickly came. And obviously, the best way to look into the ant world is to go to their height, be like an ant, right? And click from their angle. That's why you are able to see this one ant feeding the other here, so clearly.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
Snail. Um, so I have. This is in one of the parks here, just after rains, and the best time to capture, macro photography, do macro photography, and capture these small insects is after rains. That's when they become very active. After rains, there's sunshine which actually comes, and then there's a lot of glitter in the water droplets. That's when this particular shot was taken. Um, and if you see the next shot here, so now this snail, if you can just see the pointer,
Yeah, yeah.
this this looks like its eye, right?
Yeah.
But it is not its eye. It's one of its tentacles.
Yeah, yeah.
This like
Okay.
this, which
Perpendicular.
is which is perpendicular, which is pointing straight,
Yeah.
to the camera. The snail's eyes are here on
Yes.
top.
Yeah.
Here, these two.
Mm.
That's where its eyes are. So I found this angle, very different, and decided to click it.
Yeah.
And of course, the snail is a very slow-moving animal or insect. So it gives me all the time to in the world to take a good photograph. So this is a dragonfly. It's laying an egg just after rains.
Oh, yeah.
See the design that on its body,
Yeah, yeah.
the pattern. It looks so beautiful.
Yes.
I mean, when I took to macro photography, I was saying, oh my God, I seem to have missed a lot in life so far, right? These design patterns are something that is there around us. And I remember, as a child, I had caught many dragonflies, and then I would catch them and then throw them again back into the air, and so they fly away. But then observing them this way, I never observed that when I was a child. But then observing them this way is something that you can only say this creation is just wow.
Mm-hmm.
So this, you see 3 red ants here. The 2 red ants are carrying the third one, which is in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah.
I spent around 15 minutes with these ants. There was a pole. This is actually a pole. They were carrying the one in the middle along this pole, and then along a tree trunk.
Uh-huh.
So when it carries along a tree trunk, there is one ant which actually moves backward, and the other ant holds the third ant and then pushes it up. It's such an arduous task. I mean, by these little creatures. It was such a wonderful. This is just one shot. The rest of the time, I was just observing them.
Yeah.
What do they do? I mean, how do they do it? They seem to be so intelligent.
Yeah, they just know what to do, right? They don't have to think.
Yeah.
They know what.
So this is a long-legged garden fly. Again in my balcony. I took this shot just after rains. Those are water droplets which were resting on a leaf. And this garden fly was just trying to sip water through the, from this droplet of water.
Uh-huh.
Went very close to this fly to take this shot.
So you were close with the camera, or was it a zoom in shot like that?
No, no, no. This was so I have a 100 macro lens, which can come. um okay, which can cover a certain distance, but then that distance is not enough. I need to go close here.
Close.
And macro shots are such that your hand has to be steady if you are holding it on hand, or else you need a tripod. But if you have a tripod, the insects will probably just fly away. So these are all handheld shots, and the hand has to be really steady in clicking this.
Yeah, I can imagine.
This is a spider. It looks like it's from some other world.
I was going to say this is like a shot of Mars. The surface of Mars.
And this is again in my balcony. There was a pot of green leaves, and this spider was there sitting on those leaves. Again, the light also makes a great difference here. After rains, this was after rains, so you don't have sunlight. You have a uniform light which falls on the subject here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a colored grasshopper. Again, look at its the color and the design patterns. They're just beautiful, and they're like they just seem to be posing, not very much concerned, as long as we don't go too close to them, and we don't try out any tricks. They're
Yeah,
fine.
right.
They are there to pose.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, dude, the moon. Oh my God. This has been I'm going to ask you so many questions about taking photographs of the moon. So be prepared, okay?
uh, people take photographs of moon, but my interest has always been how to take different photographs of moon. It's the same moon, but you need to make it interesting, to include other elements so that you make it slightly different from what others are clicking. So to start with, this is more than the full moon. A moon which is like this interests me a lot, because there is a darker side of it, there is a lighter side of it, and you find these. Just makes it very interesting for me to capture. You see the craters here. That's because I was using a powerful lens. So this is a typical tripod-based camera, with a huge lens shot.
Mm-hmm.
This
Oh,
is Eid ka Chand.
so beautiful.
Right? Now, Sandeep, if you see this moon here, if you can see the pointer that I'm pointing,
Yeah, yeah.
obviously this is the crescent one. But the beauty of this is enhanced only when you see the empty area here,
Correct.
the
Yeah.
black area, right? That's when you see the crescent. Right? Otherwise, it's a curve. But the actual crescent feeling comes only when you see the black area here.
Correct. Yeah.
So this is another aspect of moon photography, which where I think that such things can be made beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Lovely. This is such a beautiful shot.
yeah. There's no connection between this leaf and the moon. But then, as a photographer, I wanted to bring out this connection. The curve of those branches and the leaf goes very well with the curve of the moon.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously the moon is blurred because my focus is on the branch here.
Yeah.
There is the entire tree on the right hand side, which we don't see because that's out of focus, and also it's because of the setting
Hmm.
that makes it look this way.
Yeah.
The face of the moon, so
Yeah.
you call it a PHASE or FACE.
Yes.
Both are here, and this is again one taken from my terrace. I asked my daughter to stand here, and then I thought probably the features, the facial features, the outline can actually come in front of the moon. This shot was taken during Budh Purnima.
Yes.
What use the aura that you see behind is actually the moon,
The moon. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And why is it this color? It's because the moon was slightly reddish that time, and also I had changed the white balance, what is known as a white balance, which is temperature, and changed it slightly to bring out this particular aspect. So the Buddha idol is something that I took from my house. I have a small Buddha idol, took it to the terrace, kept it on a parapet wall, right? And with the moon exactly behind, I wanted this aura to come.
Yeah. The composition is everything on this photo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So there is a temple here, which is the Kapaleshwar temple, and this is on top of the temple, where you have two mouse,
Hmm.
or whatever you call them,
Yeah.
right? And there is this crescent moon, at the top. So I wanted this kind of a composition where they are in awe of the moon.
Yeah.
Now, Kapaleshwar temple is a Shiva temple, right? The mouse is Ganesha's Vahan,
Vehicle. Yeah.
right? Yeah, vehicle. And the moon, the crescent moon, is there on Shiva's
Yeah.
head,
Yeah.
the tresses,
Yeah.
right? So the Ganesha's Vahan is in awe of Shiva's crescent moon.
Yeah. So
And
here.
this being a Shiva temple.
Yeah. Perfect. So here, Srikant, I have a technical question for you.
Yeah.
How do you get this shot so that the moon does not blur? Because usually what happens is the moon has got so much light intensity, even though you think it's just the moon, but the intensity of light coming from the moon is very high. And if you focus on the mouse, the moon just blurs out because there's too many photons coming from the moon. How do you get it? Is it a fast click or a, I don't know, in technical words, how
Okay.
do you compose it?
So one thing is the aperture has to be quite high. The aperture value has to be quite high here. For example, f11, f22, or depending on, I don't remember what was the aperture value here, but then it is quite high. You do focus on the mouse here. The moon is also not very sharp. If you see very closely, the moon is not very sharp, but then you do get a fairly good photograph where it looks like both are sharp. The moon is actually not sharp in this case. You do see a slight blur here.
Yeah, yeah.
The other way of doing it is take two photographs and merge them, which is
But
a
that, that,
different.
that, is, that is cheating.
Yeah, yeah. So, but then this is a single shot, and the focus was on the mouse.
So wait a minute. So aperture high means it's a rapid open and close, right? That it goes reverse way. So f22 means it goes, and f1 means it goes like that.
No, it's the other way around.
Oh, other way around. I see.
Yeah. In the sense, there's the speed. So f22 means you are allowing, what is happening is you are allowing more light to come in.
But that doesn't blur out the moon. If you get more light, then the moon becomes, it's sending so many photons, and the mouse is not sending enough photons. So the camera gets confused as to which photons to focus on, and it just blurs out the moon. If you're, this is what I
Okay.
never understood. I never understood this.
no, let's forget the moon for a moment, right? Now, let's say you want let's say a beach photograph, right? Uh, and there are people. You are probably at a distance of around, let's say, 100 meters from the beach, right? And there are people on the beach, and then there is a sun setting, right? It's a sunset or a sunrise, whatever you want to. Now, if you were to take it at, let's say, f4 or f2.8, right, you will have to concentrate on a single subject. Let's say you are concentrating on the people, right, who are at a distance of 100 meters. Now, the people in such a case, the people will be in focus, but whatever is there in the background will be totally out of focus, and so your sun will be totally out of focus there, right? The other thing to do here is have it shot at f16 or f11, right? So what will happen is the light will slightly dim, right? You can focus on the people or on the sun. If you want, you can also focus on the sun. In which case, the sun is going to be in focus and it will not get blurred. The people who are there at a distance, 100 meters is quite a distance, will also be in focus, not to that extent, right? But they'll also not be very blurred.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the photograph that you are talking about, as far as I don't know, probably you are using your cell phone camera, to shoot this. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, iPhone. I don't have any fancy camera. My thing is iPhone camera. That's
So when you are using an iPhone camera, probably there are manual settings that you need to get into. If you allow the phone to take over, it will not, do justice to the photograph that you want. So you need to take over its settings, and then I don't know about iPhone settings, but you need to take over those settings and then adjust them manually to focus only on the moon or the sun.
or the sun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you are let's say clicking on the moon or the sun. Um, Ensure that your aperture value is high. When I say aperture value is high, it's like f16 or f22 or something like that.
Right, right.
Or you see that your shutter speed is high, 1/1000 or one by more than that, something like that, depending on how much light
Correct.
is actually coming in. Because when you do that, uh, there is no dispersion of light, uh, and you see a circle instead of the entire light getting dispersed.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. I understand now. Okay, good.
It does take, I mean, of course, there a lot of practice also is required, to get this thing right. What you have it's a very valid question there that you have. I mean, all of us have this problem, initially.
Some have it even non-initially. Some have it even after 10 years of struggling with it. Some are still stuck. I still cannot
Yeah.
take the correct photo of the moon. In my mind, I have a picture, and when it comes out in my phone, it's I hate.
See, for moon, the your shutter speed has to be very high,
Yes, yeah, because
because you don't want to. See, you don't want too much light to come in, right? So
correct.
your shutter speed has to be too high.
Very high. Yes, yes. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Oh, lovely. It's like the light bulb on the branch.
Yes. Yes. So again, as I said, moon and sun, how different can we, make them? So this is one of the ideas that I thought, probably. Again, this one is, I didn't go anywhere. It's just from my kitchen balcony.
Hmm.
So this metro construction work that was happening, behind my apartment complex.
Yeah.
And again, if you see the diagonal,
Oh, yeah, yeah. The diagonal. Yes.
right? So the left hand part is actually dark, the right hand side. It gives a certain effect to this entire composition, even though this is not exactly diagonal, right? I mean, not from the top left to the bottom right, but there is a diagonal element here. And the crane obviously is trying to hook the sun.
Yeah.
Uh, coming back to your question, if you see the sun is not very sharp here,
Yeah.
that is because my focus is on the crane,
On the crane, yes.
and the crane was quite close to me, and whereas the sun is very, very far off.
Lovely shot.
Again, energy, right? I wanted to show, solar energy being
Oh,
captured.
yeah, yeah. I see the connection of energy. Yes, beautiful. This is amazing. Yeah.
And what happens, if you see that the sun is blurred here, I wanted it that way, right? Many times we say that, that we want the sun very sharp. But what happens here is it looks like the wire is going inside the sun from left hand side and coming from inside on the right hand side.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is nothing but, it is because the sun is blurred in the center. So that creates an effect. And of course, the tower is there. I mean, so it's like the entire composition means that there is some solar energy which is getting converted to, let's say, electrical energy.
Yeah.
So what is different here is usually you see the sun up and the other subjects down. Here, the sun is down and the subjects are up. Right? For example, the subject is, in this case, is a drongo. The bird is a drongo. And also the effect that these thorny bushes create. It could be anything. You can actually use it. I don't know. There was an ad, right? I mean, for Nysil or something like that. They used to show thorny bushes
Oh, yeah, yeah.
on the back.
On the back, right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So similarly, these thorns can actually signify so many things. They can signify let's say the difficulties in life that we face, and then there's always a sun, behind them. Behind all these difficulties, there is a light, which is going to help us. So various interpretations are actually possible, depending on the scenarios.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's a flamingo owning a sunset. There's a reflection of the sun. If you see the sun at that angle, it's closer to the horizon, it's obviously very big, right? And usually flamingos, you see them, in groups, but this was a lone flamingo here, and I found that it was just in front of that reflection, and I said, "This is the best way to, I can click this particular sunset."
Did you get the name of the flamingo? I think his name was Rajnikant.
Why do you say that?
He's alone. Like, he's the king. He's the bap of it. Like, that's it. Yeah.
Now, this is, again, from my balcony. There was this metro construction that was happening. The sun was setting in the background. Okay? And this guy is actually working on their construction, but it looks like he is doing some maintenance on the sun.
On the sun. Yeah, right. This takes eye,
Yeah, the creative aspect is actually what is more important here. And there is something here, if you see this guy who's sitting here, on his head, you can see an outline of light.
Yeah.
Now that's called rim light. I was mentioning that in the first tiger photograph.
Tiger.
Right? Yeah. So similarly here you have the rim light here. The three wires holding the sun. There's absolutely no connection between the wires and the sun, but then I wanted to bring out this as if it's been captured.
Yeah.
So see some creative shots which how can we see objects and scenes differently? When we see it through the eyes, obviously, they look a certain way. We look at it in a certain way. But the same object, we would like to probably, photograph it and then, show it differently. For example, this one.
Yeah.
This is the usual sunset, right? But I have a glass of water, and the sun through it looks like a drop of sun in a
Yeah.
glass of water, the
Right.
most natural drink that one can have.
Yeah.
This was again, shot at my terrace. See, the reason I'm also mentioning the location is that you don't have to go to an exotic place, to take photographs. You can actually do it wherever you are.
Correct. Yeah.
So this is another shot, a dance shot. My purpose here, if you see, was to show motion in a still shot. So how do I achieve that? Is to slow the shutter speed.
Yeah.
And only to a certain extent that I show motion, but at the same time, I don't blur the images to such an extent that the artist is not seen.
Yeah.
So the artists are seen, at the same time I'm able to show the motion here.
Yes. Oh, lovely.
So these are portrait. Now the portrait shots, if only people can make them more interesting, instead of just people coming and sitting on the sofa and then taking shots, let us try out something different. Try, you have your family, you have your friends, try out something different, which is something that you would want to look at, even after 10 years, right? You want it as a memory, not just as a memory, but as a creative shot.
Yeah.
Probably you'll also remember the way this was executed 10 years later,
Yes.
instead of just a straightforward uh, shot where you look at the camera. That's it.
So how did you take this? This was on a clicker. So you had a camera set and then you guys posed and then you had a remote clicker to click it.
No, so I put it on timer. I had a 10-second timer.
Okay. Right.
I put the camera on a tripod, and
Yeah.
I clicked it. So 10 seconds was the timer. I came and stood there.
Stood there. Yes.
Yeah. Again, this is something that I got probably in the fourth or fifth try,
Yeah,
because
because you have to
the
adjust.
position also had to be maintained and perfected.
Did all your family have a neck ache after this photo?
No, they didn't. I have a very cooperative family. I'm very surprised, and they may not listen to the husband or the father, but they definitely listen to the photographer.
Photographer. Yes. Good. Yeah.
This is a play of light. Uh, if you see, obviously this is Mira, my wife.
Yes.
Uh, which direction is she seeing? Now it looks like her face is straight, but her eyes are turned towards the left,
Mm-hmm.
or the entire face is turned towards the left. No,
Yeah.
it's the effect of light,
Right. Right.
right? Now the fact is, this is her face is towards the camera, is turned towards the camera, but her eyeballs are turned towards the left.
Right.
Right? And the light source is being put in such a way that we are able to see two aspects of the same face here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Beautiful.
And this one is again a contour, tracing the contours with a backlight. Something that I thought, I should try on my daughter.
Yeah. This is beautiful. Oh, there you go.
And that's a Tetris family.
Yes. Yes. Tetris. Completely.
You can see the cooperation that I got actually, from them.
Yeah.
When someone looks at it, what are you guys doing? Isn't it silly? But then I want it that way. Yeah, I want it to be silly. I don't want a straightforward family photograph.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Srikant. How many cones of ice cream did you have to bribe your kids to sit like this for this photo?
Zero.
Zero.
That's why I said, they cooperated a lot.
Okay. Okay, let me ask you this way: how many dishes did you have to wash after to please your wife to pose for the photo?
Okay, so this shot is actually a rose bud, and you see a drop of water there. This was just after rains.
Yeah.
And you also see my son's face inside the drop of water. It's inverted. The drop of water acts like a lens.
Lens. Yeah.
That's because my son is standing just behind the, or rather sitting just behind the rose bud.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So what you see in the background is the big nose of my son,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then his eyes
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this entire thing is actually shown inside this water drop.
Lovely. This is just a brilliant shot.
Again, a macro shot here, this one.
Oh yeah.
So two cups, invert them, make them wear specs, and you have two geeks in discussion.
Yes. Lovely.
A shot similar to the earlier one. This is Krishna inside a drop of water. Again, the Krishna in this case is straight because the actual Krishna is behind and is inverted. If you see it here,
Mm-hmm.
so the Krishna here behind is inverted. I just kept it inverted, and uh, and so I get a straight image inside this droplet of water.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so quickly, I think I just have around 4 or 5 slides here. Product and food. Uh, I'm always, interested in the uh, product and food photography. Okay, food photography actually came as a surprise to me. I mean, it just by a stroke of luck, I started doing food photography. Product photography, yes. I mean, this one was for one of the clients, and this is a traditional cooking jar and storage jar, that are still used in some parts of India. And this particular product shoot was an attempt to re-establish that link with our ancient past and sell these products through their website. uh,
Mm-hmm.
the coasters was the product. So the question was, how do we show it? Obviously, we had to show it with the help of a cup,
Yeah.
a teacup.
And I like it the way
Food
you've done.
photography.
I like it the way you've kept it black and white.
Yeah. See, there's also one more thing. If you see the background, this is grass. The green is
Right.
grass, and it is symmetrical on both the sides.
Yes. Yes.
The lines. Finally, if you see, these are all lines here.
These
There's
are all
a
lines. Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
yeah lines, symmetrical lines here. Even the coaster has the symmetrical lines.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah.
The famous pav bhaji.
Oh yes.
Another product shot, for one of my clients. This is a serving tray,
Huh.
and all these are handcrafted, handmade.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, they were beautiful. They were just beautifully created,
Yeah.
and I had to use some props to highlight them.
So it's interesting you chose to show the fan opening this way rather than from the base opening outward. You could have turned it 180 degrees. Oh, wait, so there's these geese. Can you hear the geese?
Yeah, I can hear them.
So, what is the reason you chose this thing for the fan to open towards the user versus away from the user? Because
Fan?
if
Where is the fan?
no, the painting, I mean the thing, the artwork on the base of the tray, it's essentially a one of those Chinese fan type things. I'm calling it a fan. It's not
Oh, okay.
right. So it's unfurling towards the user like
Huh,
this. But
huh.
so if you had turned this thing 180 degrees, it would unfurl away from the user, right?
Yes, yes.
So is there a reason you
S-
chose it this way versus the other way?
yes, yes. Because that was getting, uh, the what you see. One minute, let me just get my mouse pointer. Yeah. See, this particular part, if I had turned it 180 degrees,
Hmm.
would have obstructed the base of the fan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You would not have seen the base of it. Correct, correct.
Yeah. The beauty is in that artwork, right? And that's why the artwork is something that I wanted on the other side.
Yes,
And
yes. No,
also, if you see, this tray is kept diagonal,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
This way. This is kept diagonal. If I had kept it, let's say, a horizontal, this wouldn't have been very symmetrical.
Yes, yes. No, this is the, Srikant, if you remember engineering drawing, there is this thing called isometric. So this is an
Hmm.
isometric view, which makes it perfect in your head. You can build a 3D picture if it is isometric versus like a cross horizontal type thing.
Correct, correct.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love it. I just love this photo.
So what I did was I have just taken, from various restaurants,
Yeah.
the photographs that I had taken, and created a collage. Uh, they all have their own branding. They all have their own, uh, you know, um, I would say the way they serve, their tables. So it's very important to include those aspects also in this.
Yeah.
So the last, I think, yeah, this is the last part. Very difficult to capture babies, right? I
Yes.
mean, uh, no plan works with them. They are
No,
in their own world.
you have to go with their plan because that's the only plan
Correct,
that will work. Yes.
correct, correct. And this is something that I really love. Um, uh, babies can be cooperative or they can be, cranky, and uh, it's only between the crankiness that you shoot. So I had to do this shoot with in two installments. Um, I left the all the equipments there in the house in their house because the baby suddenly became cranky. It had to be fed. Then it had to sleep. So I came back again, after the 3 hours, and then completed the shoot.
Hmm.
They have their style. They are not conscious of the camera. No, you just let them be. It takes initially it takes a few minutes for them to get adjusted to a third person who has suddenly come into the house, and all the equipments and all those things, lights and everything. But then later on, after a few minutes, they start moving around. As long as you just leave them and don't direct them to do certain things.
Oh, lovely.
Siblings. So finally, I I thought I should have one slide which has helped me over the years. Now probably I can share it with people here. Right? Um, Obviously, the first one is pause and start observing. We all do that, right? We, it's something that's so important in photography, where you move away from the daily life of going to office or going at a pace where you don't observe things, because you are only interested from moving from point A to point B,
Yeah.
and what you do in point B is important, what you do in point A is important, but whatever is happening in between A and B is actually not important, because that is not there in the scheme of things. It is this part which will actually make the journey more interesting. That's why pause and start observing. Second thing is try out new angles. This is what makes a difference between taking a photograph and making a photograph, right? When you start looking at new angles, you will find there are other aspects of the subject which are something that are not viewable or rather not seen uh, normally,
Yeah.
right? Normally, you don't see those things, but when you look at it from a different angle, you suddenly see, this particular aspect of the subject is so beautiful. So let me capture it.
Yep.
Okay. Make a conscious decision to be different. Yes, we have to be. If you want to make a photograph which is different, you will have to do things differently in life. It doesn't come suddenly, or it doesn't come only when you are taking photographs. So in life, you have to be different. Fourth point is something that you and I appreciate,
Oh
right?
my God. I mean, I think you have to only stop at this fourth point, has to be in 50-point font. That's it. Done.
It's something that I don't know where to start, or probably how to say, but it explores that aspect of the brain which has not been explored at all. You know, and beyond that, it's not just the brain; it is even beyond that mind, right, which is beyond the brain. It is meditation helps, in probably digging into that. I would say digging, because the creativity aspect is already there. It's just that it's there somewhere hidden. So it helps in digging into that aspect and then bringing out, to the forefront.
I think what it does is it when you're a meditator and you want to take a photo, you, even without any effort, you become one with the object, and then magic just happens there. This
Absolutely, absolutely.
becoming one with the object is your whole sadhana training of meditating, pranayama, all this stuff. You don't have to do any effort. You sit and you just, you have this connection with the tiger, and the focus of you and your breath and the tiger's breath is in perfect sync, and you click and it's magic. It's just brilliant. I
Correct,
think that's what
correct.
happens. Yeah,
And this is one point, Sandeep. I'm sure meditation has helped me so much in photography. There is no direct connection, but indirectly, no. I mean, there's no logic to it. If you try to bring out some logic here, it is probably not possible. But it has helped me so much in photography here. Of course, practice. The next point is practice every day with everyday objects. I used to do that. When I was in IT, I would come back from office work and then take all the objects at home and then see how I can, show this particular object differently. I didn't have lights, so I would use candlelight. I would use torchlight, and then I would keep practicing with these objects.
This is so important that you say practice, Srikant, because if you see the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, this is exactly what he says. Nairantarya abhyasa puna puna, again, practice. Abhyasa means what? Practice, and
Correct.
nairantarya, many times, and then
Nirantar.
perfection will come. Beautiful. It's
Correct.
amazing. I told you that there is always physics of pranayama in everything.
And see, all said and done, a good quality camera also, helps. It is always better than and the nowadays point and shoot cameras are also really good. But then I'll feel slightly, I would say, uncomfortable with a point and shoot camera as compared to a DSLR. It's also good to follow other photographers online. If you want to get into serious photography, you get to read their mind and see, what is it that is actually helping them take these photographs, the way they take it. And then, over a period of time, photographers develop their own style, and you'll be able to relate to that style. And then, you can say, okay, this particular photograph is this particular style from this particular photographer. And for the more serious buff, join a good photography course. So this is something that I have laid stress on, a lot of to a lot of people, because they said, look, can't I Google it and learn it? Yeah, to some extent it is possible, but there are these finer points which can be done only when you join a course, only when you have a guru, only when you learn from a group which is also attending the course with you. Only when you are hands on, only when there is someone to correct you when you go wrong, that's when things actually happen.
When people tell me, oh, I'm going to Google and do this, I said, all right, do me a favor. You Google how to swim and let's see if you can swim. You just Google how to swim, front stroke, back stroke. I'll push you in the water. Most likely you won't be able to swim. It's like that.
Yeah. So I think a teacher, a guru is, something that people have to appreciate the fact that that they need one.
Yeah, yeah. Totally agree. So Srikant, one thing I'd like to get from you, may not right now but later, is all these, the website, your Facebook page, your Instagram. I'll put it all in the description section of this video so people can find you if they want to, in each of these media. And if you have any other content that you want to share, like for example, if people want to buy some of your photos, how do they do it? All this kind of stuff. If you can send me some description, I will put it in the description of the video. So
Sure. I'll
I
do that, Sandeep. Yeah, I'll do that.
you're selling your photos, right? They are available for purchase.
Yes. All my photos are. I have a website, srikantclicks.com,
Hmm.
and all the photographs are there. Though I don't have an e-commerce shopping cart, in those things. But then people who would like to buy these photographs, you can always get in touch with me, and
Yeah.
that's how I sell. I've sold it, to two or three guys um, who have uh, contacted me directly, um, asking for a certain photograph in a certain resolution, and I given it to them.
Yeah. No, this was beautiful. This was so nice to just hang out with you and get some insights into photography. And I can clearly see the connection between doing all these pranayama techniques, etc., and meditation, and how that will settle. And it's all about no, clearing out the noise so that the beauty of the moment is somehow captured in its full. It is signal
Exactly,
versus noise. If there's
exactly.
noise in the thing, then the signal is distorted. It doesn't work.
All the dirt which is there at the surface level gets removed, and you get into the core. But
Lovely.
then, Sandeep, the best thing is, uh, thanks for this opportunity. Uh, because I have always thought that that people should understand that a photographer means someone who is not just taking or clicking a photograph. There's a whole set of a different mindset that is actually acting on that, and there's a story, there's a some composition rules, composition guidelines, uh, so much that all come together to make a photograph. And thanks for giving this opportunity so that I could explain, uh, because it helps sometimes, in this fast world people do not have the time to actually appreciate a photograph or a painting from an artistic point of view. And
Yes.
they look at it and they say, okay, it's good, but what actually went behind it is something that such it's only such sessions that actually help.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So, is there anything else you want to share? Maybe you can stop the
No,
screen.
that's it. I mean, this is the last.
Yeah. So maybe we can stop the screen share so I can see you in a bigger window.
Yeah, stop share. Yeah.
There you go. Now I can see you properly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this has been so amazing. I mean, thank you very much for agreeing to even come on this esoteric channel called Physics of Pranayama. You say, what the heck is Physics of Pranayama? But it's such a broad thing. You can. It's always breath is always involved in everything we do. Settling of mind is involved in everything we do, and physics is just beautiful by itself. So there is no need to describe what beauty of physics is. The physics of pranayama is a catch-all type. I can talk about anything under the sun on this channel because everything is either physics or pranayama. Yeah. So it was so nice, Srikant. Yeah. I mean, just to hang out. Next time we'll do it over a cup of chai.
Oh yes, sure.
And all the story. Okay, this was a little bit more formal. You had some photos, etc. But there are so many more things that you want to share with the world. I'm sure that we could not cover in this one. So if you don't mind, I'm going to make you a request that you will come back on this channel and we will keep talking. The nuances of photography or even life in general. Something.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a learning process. Even though we are doing it this way, it's a learning process for us also, as well
Yes.
as for anyone who actually sees this.
Right. All right, Srikant, it's been awesome. Oh, wait, what happened to this mouse? Yeah, it's been really brilliant. After a long
Thank
time,
you.
after a long
Yeah,
time, we got to talk about something I wanted to talk to you about for a long time, but we never got the time to talk. It took a virus to slow down everything so that we now got time to talk.
it's been great, Sandeep. Here I was always thinking about this. What is this physics of pranayama? And when suddenly I found you telling me, why don't you come in physics of pranayama and share your experience. It's been great that you are doing this kind of a session, and I'm sure there will be other sessions that you are actually doing, which are going to uh, be an eye opener for people very soon.
Awesome. All right. So I'll catch you later. Okay, Srikant. Bye.
Yeah, sure. Okay, bye.
Okay, let me stop the live.